Alright, so the basic idea here is that this guy, I forget his name, he wrote a book called The Next 100 Years. And in it he references a bunch of social statistics, right? He says that the American population is every woman is having only 1.6 children on average, right? Now, you might want to shoot.
Got it. Alright.
So every woman in America is having an average of 1.6 children, correct? So this means that over the space of the next 100 years, our population is technically going to decline, which he says is going to be a huge issue on a myriad of different topics, politically, socially, and economically, right? So he thinks he has all these great plans too, based on like geopolitical demographics and things that are happening today and cultural forces and stuff like that. He thinks like the entire next 100 years is basically predetermined, right? So here's his idea. He thinks that by the time the baby boomers start dying out, say about 2030, we're gonna be facing a huge labor shortage. And all of these immigration issues that we have today, in like Arizona, for example, will be a thing of the past. They'll be ridiculous because we'll be enticing immigrants to come to our country. We'll actually be giving them bonuses, like paying them extra money to come, you know, providing them with citizenship right away, amnesty tests, things like this. And like, he thinks that by the time 2030 rolls around, we're gonna have a huge population crisis, and that Mexico is gonna be the savior of, you know, North America, basically. And that an entire host of other developed nations are also gonna have this problem. France, Germany, Japan's having this problem right now. We should call this the Michael's shoe falls off show.
Actually, that looked good. It's just an extreme close up.
Yeah, all right. Well, anyway, so, and that's why I think we should really like be thinking about, you know, the immigration issues of today. I mean, if this is really an issue, and I think his theory is pretty good, you know, if every woman only has 1.6 children, you know, there's no statistic way the population can grow. And with the fact that the baby boomer generation is already retiring and soon to be dying off, you know, RIP, but like, taking our social security, by the way, but like, regardless of that.
Okay, so that's cool, they're taking, you know, but so does that mean we're just gonna stay even from here on out? No,
our population is gonna go down, and that's why we're gonna have a labor shortage.
So every 2 people making 1.5 kids.
Right, think about it.
Is just gonna, so 2 people will make 1 child.
Yeah.
So it will decrease by half.
Yeah, well, not half, more like, he says by...
Half of 2 is 1.
Well, 1.5 of 2. So
okay.
It's decreasing by a quarter.
Okay. Hold on.
This Michael's shoe falls off. So anyway, you know, there's going to be a whole bunch of other different factors going on here too, right? Like, for example, in Europe, they say that there's, you know, several stages a civilization must go through, right? You know, when you're first a young country, you're a brutal country, you're barbaric, and that's what America is. We're still a young country, and we're very young in terms of our, you know, development of foreign policy anyway. So young countries are always barbaric, right? Now there's the middle-aged civilizations is what they call it. The real civilizations, and these develop a kind of, how do I say it? They're like a harmony of barbarism and decadence. And decadence is the last stage of any civilization. Now this guy's theory is that, you know, the European continent went through the first 2 stages that any civilization must go through. You know, the barbaric stage, the harmonic stage, and now finally the decadent stage. So he thinks that the population decline for Europe is just going to cause a host of political and economic issues that's going to push Europe below, way below, and many emerging countries today. For example, he thinks that Mexico will have a higher GDP than any European country by 2100. It's a good thought. I think that might actually happen.
So on a national test score for the best standard of living, the US came in 10th.
Yeah.
Sweden was first, and there's another European country that wasn't. Why do you think that is? What's happening in the U.S.? I want to hear something local, like what's gonna happen here in our backyard.
Oh, in Denver. All right. Where's this gonna happen in Denver? Well, to answer your question though,
like how does it affect us?
So the population decline is gonna see a real big increase. Actually, he thinks that America, as a barbaric nation, right, is just on the rise. He thinks that the 21st century is going to be the equivalent of the European 15th and 16th centuries. He thinks America is going to develop a huge amount of power during this period of time, and that in the end, we won't enter our decadent stage until well after 2100. So he thinks that the population decline, along with the rest of the world's and Europeans entering into decadence, is going to cause our lives on a local level to be awesome. In other words, this is just the beginning of America being great. People have been saying since the Reagan years that America's going downhill, right? But this is just the beginning. And it's really true when you think about it, right? Look at our foreign policy. It's like exactly what a young nation is. It's barbaric. We're going out there, we're throwing our power around, you know, Afghanistan, Iraq, our brothers and sisters going off to different countries in the Middle East, right? And these are actions of a country that has a lot of power, but not a lot of harmony, not a lot of thought goes into these things. I mean, it's more complex than that, right? You know there's a bunch of people thinking real hard about what America should do, but in the end, the general populace really is what decides American action. You know, whether you admit that or not, you know, you could say that there's a lot of like problems with access, but in the end, it's the American populace, and particularly the American media, that controls the government. At least I would say. But, and big business, bleh. We're not gonna talk about that though.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.